Think about where all the largest snakes are in the world.
Yeah.
The only place that has a wet, tropical, humid environment that doesn't have a massive snake is the Congo, Central Africa.
For decades, stories of a colossal snake deep in Africa's Congo Basin were dismissed as myth. But what if the legends were real? Imagine a serpent longer than a school bus gliding through dense swamps and forests that remain largely unexplored. Now, new expeditions and camera evidence are drawing serious attention. Reports of snakes stretching beyond 40 feet, along with unusual genetic samples, suggest a creature unlike any species previously documented. What once sounded like folklore may now point to one of the most astonishing wildlife discoveries in the modern world. Legendary sightings and skepticism. For over 6 decades, the legend of a giant snake lurking in the Congo Basin has fascinated and divided observers. One of the earliest and most compelling accounts comes from Colonel Remy van Leerde, a Belgian Air Force pilot and decorated World War II veteran. In 1959, while flying over the Katanga region, he claimed to have seen a massive serpent on the ground, about 50 feet long, its head the size of a horse's, and a body as thick as a large tree trunk. The snake reportedly reared up as his helicopter approached, seemingly defensive or aggressive, a sight that stunned him to the core. Van Leerde even took photographs from the air, showing a remarkably large snake-shaped figure amid disturbed vegetation. Over the years, these grainy images were analyzed by experts, but largely dismissed as inconclusive or exaggerations of known large pythons. Scientists argued that no recorded snake came close to such a size. Reticulated pythons and green anacondas, the largest known species, only reach around 25 to 30 feet at best. Twice that length seemed biologically impossible. Despite the skepticism, Van Leerde stood by his observations until his death, insisting that his estimates were accurate and that the scientific community's dismissal stemmed from incomplete knowledge of the Congo's remote wilderness. His reputation as a methodical military officer added weight to his story. Yet the absence of tangible proof had relegated his claims to the realms of cryptozoology or folklore. The notion of a 50-foot serpent persisted as a tantalizing but unresolved mystery. Scientists have long debated the limits of snake growth because they found that snakes could only reach certain sizes when their metabolic and anatomical boundaries allowed. Local legends from the Congo showed that people believed in enormous snakes that hunters would not approach because of their size. The stories about these creatures were commonly treated as false claims that combined different types of reptiles. The search for evidence of their presence, because the area proved to be unwelcoming, showed no results that could confirm their existence. The legend existed for many years as a minor tale that people believed until traditional herpetology and natural history studies began to dominate. The question loomed: could biology and evolution allow for snakes of titan proportions to survive undetected in one of Earth's last vast wildernesses? The fearsome creature existed as either an imaginary product of human minds or a real, sustainable existence that people believed inhabited the jungle. The intense skepticism of Van Leerde's report established a foundation for a remarkable finding that proved to overturn all established knowledge. The large snake case became a mystery because its size and its specific behavioral characteristics showed how the snake reacted to the helicopter that approached it. Experts wondered whether a species of that size could exist because such an animal would need excessive energy and different types of food to survive. The Congo jungle offers an ideal environment for mysterious giant creatures to exist without being discovered by people. Van Leerde's sighting was more than folklore. It was a challenge to modern science's assumptions. The primary question that needed to be answered remained unresolved, because investigators had not conducted sufficient field research to determine whether the snake was actually a dinosaur that had become invisible to everyone. For decades, proof eluded explorers and biologists, preserving the enigma and fueling wild speculation. The unresolved conflict between legend and science kept the giant Congo snake hidden from view until advanced fieldwork methods started to reveal actual information. The breakthrough came not from folklore alone, but from understanding the unique ecosystem that could sustain such a creature. The Congo Basin's unique ecology. The Congo Basin is one of the world's most massive and stable ecological systems, covering over 1.5 million square miles across 6 Central African countries. Its vast rainforests, winding rivers, and seasonal floodplains create an environment so dense and difficult to access that large swaths remain virtually unexplored by science. Satellite images reveal an unbroken emerald canopy stretching for hundreds of miles, a green fortress that has kept many secrets hidden from human eyes. This dense environment is a double-edged sword. It makes exploration logistically challenging, but also provides sanctuary for species that might not survive elsewhere. The thick vegetation, remote waterways, and sprawling wetlands create pockets of habitat that isolate populations, allowing unique evolutionary paths to unfold undisturbed. The Congo's wetlands are rich with prey, from forest elephants and antelope to wild pigs and crocodiles, offering abundant food sources to support massive predators. A key factor enabling such large reptiles to thrive is the basin's remarkable climate stability. Unlike many tropical forests that shrank or shifted during glacial periods, the Congo Basin has remained relatively constant for millions of years. This stability acts like a living museum, preserving ancient ecological niches and allowing species that disappeared elsewhere to survive here as relic populations. It also creates ideal conditions year-round for cold-blooded animals, enabling them to grow continuously without seasonal interruptions. The basin's warm and muddy waters, which flow through its rivers and swamps, present ideal environments for large constricting snakes to thrive. The presence of sediment and plant decay materials results in total darkness conditions, which enable giant snakes to execute stealth attacks on their prey. The waterways create natural routes that lead to concealed compartments that enable humans to move through the area while preventing detection of even the largest animals, which can remain hidden to humans for many years. The basin area includes 5 million square miles, which enables rare species to exist in low numbers throughout its vast territory without becoming visible to observers. The vast area of this territory allows giant snakes to remain hidden from scientific detection because they move throughout the space at night and use their ability to swim through water. Human activities occur in scattered locations throughout the area, which results in total protection for both tributary systems and swamp forest ecosystems. The Congo region contains an incredible range of living organisms that scientists have not yet fully uncovered. The ongoing discovery of new mammal, amphibian, and plant species demonstrates that our existing knowledge still contains significant gaps. The possibility of a snake that matches the ancient Titanoboa size becomes more believable because prehistoric environments supported giant snakes when their food supply was abundant. Scientists acknowledge that certain ecosystems function as safe zones that help species survive extinction while they develop exceptional new traits. The Congo Basin exhibits all the characteristics of a safe zone, which includes extensive land area, stable weather patterns, and diverse ecosystems. This particular puzzle piece reveals the method through which the famous serpent managed to remain hidden for an extended period. The massive size of the snake creates a challenge for researchers trying to locate it because they need to understand the Congo Basin ecosystem first. This fragile ecosystem doesn't just support large reptiles, it may be the last sanctuary where creatures from an ancient era continue to exist, bridging past and present in a living wilderness. Ancient giants and relic species. The fossil record reminds us that giant snakes are not merely the stuff of legends. Around 60 million years ago, Titanoboa reigned supreme in what is now Colombia, stretching 40 to 50 feet long and weighing over a ton. This colossal snake thrived in tropical swamp environments, strikingly similar to today's Congo Basin. Titanoboa's existence proves that vertebrates of astounding size have inhabited Earth's swampy ecosystems before, dominated by warm, productive niches. Titanoboa eventually vanished as Earth's climate cooled and tropical forests shrank, making mega-snake survival impossible in most regions. Yet paleontologists have found this pattern before. Species dismissed as extinct can turn up alive in isolated, stable environments untouched by widespread change. The coelacanth, a deep-sea fish thought extinct for 65 million years, was discovered alive in 1938. The Wollemi pine, missing from the fossil record for millions of years, was found growing in remote Australia in 1994. This phenomenon of relic populations suggests that species once considered long gone can persist in refuges where climate, habitat, and isolation create continuity. The Congo Basin, with its vast, stable wetlands and dense rainforest, may well harbor such surviving ancient lineages. If anywhere on Earth could shelter a descendant of prehistoric giants like Titanoboa, it would be here. The idea that giant snakes could survive undetected gains support from local anecdotal evidence describing enormous pythons far larger than the scientifically documented species. Hunters speak of serpents so large they avoid them, reporting footprints wider than a man's torso, and encounters described only in hushed tones. These accounts challenge the limits of accepted herpetology and hint at a hidden reality beneath the canopy. Modern science recognizes Python sibe, the Central African rock python, as Africa's largest confirmed snake species, with exceptional individuals reaching 20 to 25 feet. These powerful constrictors are formidable, able to subdue large prey, but they fall well short of the legendary 50-foot giants. The gaps between local lore, ancient evolutionary history, and modern science set the stage for a profound discovery. The Congo Basin operates as a continuous time capsule, which demonstrates that evolution has the potential to produce snakes with exceptional size that possess different genetic and ecological characteristics from their common relatives. The creature would not exist as a bigger python because it would represent a new stage in snake evolution, which connects modern times with ancient Earth history. The scientific community found evidence of giant snakes that evolved from Titanoboa, or related species, because these creatures maintained their existence within this protected area through their uncommon and difficult-to-spot behavior. The combination of history and biology proves that extraordinary things can occur when their existence remains concealed. The ancient link between these two entities establishes a new level of importance because the giant Congo snake functions as more than an oddity, but a heritage species that connects time back to its origins as a living relic, which extends through millions of years. People around the world show interest in discovering ancient giants. Yet, the African interior retains ancient history because the swamps maintain it as a living entity that waits to disclose its hidden past. From there, the whispers and wilderness give way to voices long familiar with the snake's reality, shifting the story from legend to accounts spanning generations. Local knowledge and lore. Deep within the Congo Basin, local communities have long spoken in hushed tones about colossal snakes far beyond the size of any scientifically documented species. These are not just casual stories, but warnings woven into the fabric of village life. Hunters describe encounters with serpents so immense they refuse to approach, recounting footprints in riverbank mud wider than a human torso and snakes capable of swallowing crocodiles. Yet, these accounts are rarely shared openly with outsiders, partly due to a fear of ridicule and partly because the snakes hold a place of spiritual significance. For generations, tribal elders have emphasized respect and caution around these creatures, teaching younger community members to avoid specific rivers and forest areas which giant snakes might inhabit. The local people maintain two opposing forces, which create a dual relationship with the area. The snakes exist as actual threats, while people perceive them as mystical creatures who inhabit both the spiritual and physical realms. Indigenous communities view these snakes as sacred animals, which they believe contain supernatural powers. People from outside the community have dismissed these tales, which they consider either folklore or stories that became exaggerated through fear and storytelling traditions. The scientific community and explorers in earlier times considered these traditional stories as unscientific, since they preferred to study physical evidence that they could touch. Scientific research has overlooked indigenous knowledge because scientists have rejected it as unscientific. The gap between local cultural beliefs and Western scientific methods has created doubt about the existence of giant snakes. Despite the dismissal, many researchers now recognize that indigenous ecological knowledge often holds crucial clues about hidden biodiversity. Local trackers and hunters understand the rhythms and signs of the forest in ways satellite data and cameras cannot capture alone. Their accounts have led exploratory teams to remote locations otherwise inaccessible or unknown to science. Respecting this knowledge is vital for unveiling the region's true wildlife dynamics. The local people show reluctance to share information because they fear that outsiders will disrupt their property. The existing fear of increased attention brings danger to both the snakes and the human communities that share their habitat with them. Conservation efforts, which exclude local community participation, will result in losing important local knowledge and protection abilities. Scientists have found it extremely difficult to obtain direct proof of the existence of giant snakes. People choose to remain silent because they have both religious beliefs and a need for physical safety. The Congo Basin remains one of the most challenging environments on Earth. Dense forests, dangerous wildlife, and difficult terrain discourage casual investigation. People avoid areas where giant snakes exist because these massive snakes present an actual danger to both humans and animals. The absence of information was maintained a secret until modern times reached their peak. The giant snakes existed in the shared memory of local communities before cameras and scientists began their work in the deep swamps. Stories passed down through generations have always hinted at more than familiar pythons or anacondas. The oral histories functioned as a warning system because they expressed both fear and respect for animals that exceeded known species size. Understanding these cultural layers is crucial. The giant snake serves as more than a scientific study object because it exists within a dense network of human connections, belief systems, and methods of surviving in the world. The complete examination of the Congo giants requires scientists to establish a complete understanding of the local culture through scientific methods, which connect actual facts with local legends. The indigenous people maintained secret knowledge, which led researchers to select their study sites based on areas with the highest potential to discover evidence. The delicate relationship between traditional knowledge and scientific research would soon transform our understanding of the world. The path to discovery relied on blending ancient whispers with modern technology, as the first unmistakable signs of an extraordinary creature emerged from the shadows. Breakthrough camera trap evidence. In 2019, a team of conservation biologists ventured into one of the most remote, roadless sections of the Congo Basin to conduct biodiversity surveys. Months of arduous travel by river and foot led them to dense forests and swampy waterways scarcely touched by humans. To monitor elusive wildlife, they deployed camera traps along game trails and near water sources, sensitive devices designed to activate on motion and capture both still images and short videos. These traps would become pivotal in unveiling creatures never before documented by science. After 6 months, the researchers retrieved the cameras and began reviewing the footage. Amid typical images of forest fauna, they found something remarkable and unexpected: a series of videos showing massive serpents moving through the vegetation. Although visibility was limited by dense undergrowth, low light, and obstructive angles, the scale of the animals was undeniable. The largest clip displayed roughly 20 feet of snake body passing through the frame, with both head and tail beyond the camera's view. Scientists analyzed the footage using known tree species and logs as reference points to estimate size. They calculated the snake's diameters at between 24 and 28 inches, far thicker than any documented python sebe. Length estimates exceeded 40 feet, suggesting these were no ordinary reptiles, but giants unprecedented in modern records. The sheer size challenges previous biological assumptions about snake growth and vertebrate limits. Recognizing the potential controversy such claims could incite, the researchers chose to classify these videos and temporarily withhold public release. They understood that releasing unclear footage without irrefutable evidence might undermine credibility and ignite skepticism. Instead, they organized plans for a dedicated expedition aiming to capture higher quality documentation and assemble expert herpetologists to investigate firsthand. The discovery required the team to handle their work with extreme caution because they had made an exceptional find. The team required more than motion-triggered clips because they needed to prove their myths with scientific evidence, which required actual sightings, exact measurements, and DNA extraction. The subsequent stage would reveal whether the massive snakes existed as actual life forms or appeared as mere visual delusions. The camera trap evidence became the crucial moment that proved that it could provide essential information about the situation. The situation transitioned from unverified information to actual scientific data, which experts could investigate thoroughly. Herpetologists showed fresh enthusiasm for the footage, which created urgency to study it because they had previously considered such creatures to be mythical. The videos showed animal behavior through their movement patterns because they moved in slow and measured ways, which showed their ability to hunt from hiding places in water while they stayed on land. The researchers established that these snakes, which reached enormous sizes, had developed special adaptations for survival in the wetlands of Congo. The creatures possessed ideal skills for living in secret areas, which included both foliage and deep water. The breakthrough footage confirmed what locals had long insisted: the giant snakes were more than stories. The monstrous creatures that had remained undetected for many years now existed beyond their mythological boundaries. The field of herpetology began a new era, which used actual scientific research to confirm the validity of ancient myths. The evidence that continued to accumulate established a foundation for an expedition that would determine both the python's size and its complete biological and evolutionary importance. The unseen depths of the Congo were finally yielding secrets, and the world was about to meet a serpent unlike any before known. 2023 Expedition Confirmation. In late 2023, a well-funded expedition set out to confirm what the camera traps had hinted at for years: a giant snake roaming the deepest parts of the Congo Basin. Backed by a consortium of universities, conservation groups, and a discreet private donor, the team brought together some of the world's most experienced herpetologists. Among them was Dr. Sarah Kendrick from the University of Florida, a specialist in giant constrictors with 2 decades of expertise studying anacondas and reticulated pythons. Initially skeptical of the camera trap footage, she joined, expecting to document known pythons and debunk the extraordinary claims. The team used the camera trap locations as their base, meticulously tracking signs of large snake activity. They found shed skins, disturbed vegetation, and game trails, indicating powerful ambush predators. Local guides, initially hesitant to speak, gradually shared stories and led researchers to riverbanks known for frequent snake sightings. One such site became the focal point for dawn observations, equipped with telephoto cameras, high-definition video gear, and laser rangefinders to accurately measure any passing animal. At sunrise, the moment the team had hoped for finally arrived. A massive python emerged from the water, moving with the slow, purposeful undulation of a constrictor, but on a scale none had anticipated. Dr. Kendrick's reaction was one of disbelief. Nothing in her 20 years of fieldwork had prepared her to witness an animal of such astonishing size and presence. This was not simply a large python, it was a new order of giant. The researchers collected measurements of the snake using different camera viewpoints and laser rangefinder equipment, which showed the snake measured between 48 and 52 feet with a body diameter of 26 inches. The snake's weight estimates reached between 800 and 1,000 pounds, which far surpassed all known weight records of African pythons. The snake showed different body proportions because its head size appeared bigger, while its body structure kept a steady thickness from head to tail without any sudden changes. The research team discovered 3 additional individuals who matched the initial size measurement during the following weeks, which proved that the group contained more than one giant individual. Researchers sent shed skin samples to different laboratories around the world to analyze the genetic material they contained. The results of these studies would update the scientific understanding of snake evolution, along with biodiversity and physiological functions. The expedition proved that nature contains hidden wonders that scientists can discover through their research in unexplored wilderness areas. The herpetological community needed to reevaluate its existing knowledge because scientists discovered a new python species that lived in the Congo region. The colossal creature's biology held clues not just to its size, but to a hidden evolutionary story lying deep within its DNA. Genetic and morphological discoveries. Genetic analysis of the shed skin samples sent to 3 independent laboratories revealed a stunning truth. These giant snakes are indeed pythons, but not Python sebae, the Central African rock python they most closely resemble. Instead, they represent a previously unknown species that diverged from other African pythons roughly 8 to 12 million years ago. This genetic distance was substantial enough to classify them as a distinct lineage, evolving in isolation within the vast, stable swamps of the central Congo Basin. The DNA sequences confirmed their African origins, showing no close relation to South American boas or Asian pythons. This finding underscored the remarkable diversity hidden within a genus previously thought to be well understood. Even more fascinating were genetic variations related to growth hormone regulation, metabolic efficiency, and longevity. These adaptations appear to enable extended growth periods, enhanced energy utilization, and longer lifespans, key factors underpinning their exceptional size. Morphological analysis of photographs and videos further supported this genetic uniqueness. While clearly pythons based on scale patterns and head structure, these snakes displayed distinct physical differences from Python cibe. Their heads were proportionally larger and more robust, and dorsal scale arrangements varied noticeably. Coloration tended toward darker browns rather than the lighter tans typical of other African pythons, offering better camouflage in their shadowed aquatic habitats. These morphological features suggest an evolutionary shift toward a semi-aquatic ambush predator lifestyle, distinct from the more terrestrial habits of smaller pythons. Their body proportions are adapted to moving through water with minimal drag and maximum stealth, allowing them to capitalize on the Congo Basin's complex wetlands. This aquatic specialization likely contributed to their ability to reach unprecedented sizes, supported by buoyancy and abundant prey. The research team proposed the common name Titan python for this species, pending a formal taxonomic description. This name acknowledges their enormous size and prehistoric lineage, evoking connections to ancient giant serpents like Titanoboa. The discovery challenges existing ideas about snake biology, demonstrating how ecological stability and unique evolutionary pressures can produce extraordinary outcomes. This new species' adaptations in growth and metabolism provide insights into vertebrate limits, suggesting biological constraints are more flexible than once believed. They also highlight the importance of biodiversity exploration in remote regions. The Titan python represents a living archive of evolutionary history hidden within one of Earth's last great wildernesses. Understanding how such giants evolved opens doors to questions about lifespan, reproduction, and ecological roles unknown in modern herpetology. The connection between genetics and morphology offers a rare glimpse into nature's capacity for innovation when conditions align. This snake is a testament to the resilience and mystery of life in the world's most remote corners. The Titan python's existence underscores the fragile balance between discovery and conservation, reminding us that even well-studied groups like pythons can harbor unimaginable surprises just beyond the edge of human knowledge. With the biology illuminated, the focus now shifts toward protecting this incredible creature amid growing threats to its habitat and survival. Conservation challenges and future. The discovery of the giant Congo snake, now called the Titan python, brings not only excitement but also serious conservation concerns. Although the species has finally been confirmed, it appears to be extremely rare and may already be under threat. The Titan python inhabits the Congo Basin, one of the most biologically rich yet increasingly threatened ecosystems on Earth. Deforestation, mining operations, and expanding agriculture are steadily reshaping the landscape, shrinking the vast swamps and forests these massive snakes depend on. For centuries, the region's dense swamps and remote terrain acted as a natural shield, keeping human activity limited. But that barrier is slowly disappearing. Roads, logging projects, and mining operations are opening pathways into areas that were once nearly impossible to reach. As these developments expand deeper into the forest, they fragment habitats and disturb the delicate balance of the ecosystem. Because the Titan python likely exists in low numbers across a large territory, even relatively small habitat losses could have serious consequences for its survival. Hunting activities create substantial dangerous situations. Local people have developed a long-standing belief that large pythons pose a threat to their safety, which they eliminate through hunting for the valuable skins that reach high prices in illegal wildlife markets. Poachers would find a Titan python skin to be extremely valuable because its size exceeds that of all known python species. As news spreads about the snake's existence, there is concern that curiosity and greed could drive increased hunting before proper protections are in place. The effects of climate change bring additional unpredictable conditions. Scientists expect the Congo Basin to experience shifts in rainfall patterns, stronger drought cycles, and altered flooding seasons in the coming decades. The environmental changes will disrupt the swamp ecosystems, which provide the Titan python with its necessary food and breeding areas. The food chain experiences stress when even small temperature and water level changes occur, since they affect all species in the system. The Titan python needs extensive conservation efforts for its protection. The snakes need protection because they move throughout vast territories that cover 2 million acres, which requires the protection of all their forest and wetland habitats. The protection necessitates collaboration between governmental bodies, conservation organizations, and residents who inhabit these natural regions. Researchers have developed a positive relationship with indigenous groups who have shared their lands with these snakes for generations because of their ongoing research work. Their forest and wildlife knowledge enables them to provide vital information that modern science cannot produce. Local community participation enables conservation efforts to protect biodiversity while safeguarding local people's traditional ways of life. The giant Congo snake has finally stepped out of legend and into reality, revealing just how much we still have to learn about our planet's wilderness. This discovery challenges everything we thought we knew about snake biology and reminds us that nature can surprise us when we least expect it. If you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, be sure to like and subscribe for more incredible stories from the wild. And don't miss the video now appearing on your screen, where we uncover another astonishing mystery waiting to be explored.